Hello, everyone, and welcome to Edge Talk Radio. Today, I am going to be talking about the Orchid Code. This is unlocking the feminine power with authors, and I am hoping to get this in. Rocio Aquino. And I am going to try this next. Angel Orengo. Hopefully, I did that close. But I just want to thank them both. They're both from California and they have so much good to offer today. There's so much we're going to get into, and I can't wait. So, today, who am I? My name is Angela Zabel. I am a teacher, coach, medium, and I have been working with those in the non physical my entire life. And along with this, I am a teacher, coach, medium, radio show host, retreat host, gallery reader, and speaker. I offer guidance, mediumship, and intuitive readings online and in person. And also I have the Amplified Universe membership. This is our connection to who are we? What is our world? What is our role in it? And how we can navigate going forward. The biggest thing is I work with people all around the world. Check out my social media, pretty much on all of them, but go to my website, angelazabel.com. And today, I'm going to try to get this set up. Let's see what I can do. Here we go. Today, we are here with Edge Magazine. It is the leading events and media resource dedicated to all aspects of holistic living, health, wellness, and the mysteries beyond, sharing information, wisdom, and resources committed to promoting businesses, organizations, and individuals who support our collective journey to wholeness and balance. It's currently distributed in 30 states and Canada with over 17,000 magazines per printing and over 42,000 people reach per month. Have the magazine shipped to your door, stay up to date with the newsletter, become a drop spot, or make sure to check out, there's another show out there called The Being Curious Show with Kelly Wagner. You can find out more about Edge Magazine, go to their website, edgemagazine.net, and they're also on pretty much all the social media out there. So today we are here with Rocio and Angel. They are partners in life and spirit. They're wanderers who found a home in each other's hearts. Their journey has together has been filled with a myriad of cultures, beliefs, and encounters with both the ordinary and the extraordinary. In every corner of the world, from the bustling streets of some of the world's most largest metropolises to the ancient cities and the tranquil silence of hidden temples, they have found knowledge, understanding, and the essence of what connects us to all. The Orchid is more than just a fictional story and one about wonderful and powerful women. It's a reflection of our lives, the lessons we've learned, and the profound truths that they've uncovered along the way. It's a tribute to the resilient spirit of all women in our lives, those who have lived you have lived with and those you've met along the way, whose stories of courage, transformation, and triumph have inspired them profoundly. And they have dedicated the book the Orchid to all of these women. And you can find out more about them. Go to the orchidbook.com and also on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and TikTok. There is so much more. So I will have all of those links around there because some of them are their names and some are with the book. So I will have all those links down there. And also, they have a book club and they are doing so much around the world, but they didn't start out as authors. There is so much more behind them. They have such a myriad of their background with each of them in film and TV and all different things. And so I can't wait to get into this one. So make sure to check out, go to find the biggest stuff, go to theorchid.com, go on there. You will find all of the other links on there. And I just want to say thank you so much, Rocio and Angel. Thank you so much for being here. And I've got to ask, how did you go from the corporate world into now going into being authors for the Orchid?
Angel, it's a pleasure to be here. Really, I feel already my heart is full of gratitude. And do you want to begin?
Mine as well. Thank you for the space. Thank you for the beautiful words. And hello to everyone who is watching and listening.
Yes. So, Angela, at one point I was looking for forgiveness. So, how you forgive? So, I was going to people asking, how do you forgive? How you forgive? Because something humongous was happening, and I was not able to let go. So when you normally ask people, they cannot tell you 1, 2, 3, 4 steps that you need to follow to really learn how to forgive. So finally, when I experience a change in my energy body, then it's like we need to share this to the world, the steps and how to do it. So was really for the initiative. We are here because the necessity to share how to do it and put over there a seed of love and understanding. I don't know you.
In my case, I live life looking at it as a glass half full always.
Mm.
And so it was easy to let go of things. It was easy to forgive. Not that I didn't experience difficult things, but somehow it was easy. And she would ask me, but how did you do that? Or why are you the way you are?
Always I ask him, how is possible that you are super cool? And something really heavy is
Yeah.
you are not scared, or you know how you get to that knowing. And because I came from a very difficult family, and of course I didn't know how to feel in that state.
And although I lived that way, I couldn't explain it. So, for example, that one thing that she had to forgive, I was able to let go of it. And she would ask me, but how did you? And I said, just let it go, thinking that the just let it go was fully understandable,
Yeah.
right? And and she would insist, no, I need the ABC of how to do this because it's not that simple. It was in that process of her trying to get into the detail of it that I found depth and understanding and the words for my own experience. And in that process, what I would say is, even though I lived that way, I did lack purpose. I was focused on, the success, the money, the things, but it felt empty at times.
Yeah.
And the search for forgiveness met the search for purpose. And it really just was profound once we started it. And that's what led into sort of going down the rabbit hole of there's gotta be, we all know that there's gotta be more, but we consciously dove into that conversation and that part of our lives. The pandemic had a lot to do with it as well. It was post-pandemic. So obviously there was a lot of introspection. And that's how it began. That's how we went down this path.
I love that. And I love the fact, like you said, Rocio, is this is a time a lot of, and I'm just gonna say it, a lot of women hold on to things a lot more than men do. And I think this is great having both of you here to show the different introspections of both journeys and how it has helped you move through that. Because I've got to say, it's like you hear the let it go and it sounds so easy, but how does the process work? And it's
Wow.
and I know it took me a long time, and I've got to say I'm so happy I had such a great team I work with in the non-physical that it's helped me move through that. They have been my therapists all the way through. And
Wow.
but for you to have that ability to talk openly, and you two have been together for quite some time, you're a married couple, and how has this transition helped as you've gone through this deep introspection? Has it helped or hindered your relationship?
Ooh.
I only can tell you, Angel, that, for example, my glasses, my filters were of a victim person. And I removed them, and now I have a glasses of possibility, empowerment, graciousness, compassion, calm, trust, understanding. So in the moment that you move from victimhood
Mm.
and sadness and shame to possibility, everything change. So my relationship with myself, after 50 years, I became my best friend. So the last 3 years has been like oh my God, this feels great. So I love, for first time, I love myself deeply. And in the moment I really understand and grasp that love fully in every cell of my body, in that moment I can look him and understand that he doesn't need to give my happiness
and validation.
neither the validation. We are not perfect, so we commit mistakes and we understand each other. That is an idea, is a feeling, and my relationship with him become better, and my relationship with my kids was from a place of empowerment, same. And I only have one mother-in-law, and the relationship has been spectacular. They change.
Yes.
So I see her, everyone around me changing, and is absolutely incredible for me.
Yeah, look, for all of us who are here and listening, and when you change, when you ground yourself on the most powerful energy in the world, love, right? For yourself, all you have is love. And so it's like the songs, right? I mean, all you need is love. And what ends up happening is that everything around you improves. Everything. And so our marriage was no exception to that. It is the best it's ever been in the 25 years that we've been together, and the 23 that we've been married. But it was, we would take these courses and go on retreats or read this book, and we would finish, Angel, reading it or coming out of a course because it was online and we were in separate rooms. And we would look at each other and say, is this for real? And I can see how, had it been any one of us individually, the other person would not have understood what was going inside of them, because really it's like flying, right? It's like being a superhero. All of a sudden, I can fly. But because we had each other and we were both experiencing it, it was just truly transformational. Our home changed. Our daughters, as Rocio mentioned, just started to act differently. And what we've seen is that it's impacted every aspect of who we are and everything we do. And even people who come to our house say, your home vibrates so like highly. I love coming here because just entering feels great. And I think it's the energy in which we are living. And so it's felt throughout everything we do.
I know it's the energy you're living. I can tell you that.
Yes.
That I know. You have shifted and changed so much of the energy around you, and it's permeable. People feel it. It's like uh, so my team shows me pictures in different times, and they're showing, think of when you see people where they're showing like a waterfall in front of you and how you can reach through it and still feel what's on the other side. Your home is like a
Wow.
waterfall of beautiful energy, and as people step inside it, they step into a whole new realm that
Yeah.
feels so different, and it feels empowering, and that is exactly what you've been doing. And I've just got to say, you have been changing not only yourselves, but your family and your children. The generational change you are doing is immense. And and when you had talked about Rocio, is about the victimhood. That is so true. And it is so prevalent out there. And stepping out of the victimhood creates so many opportunities and love and
Yeah.
freedom, personal freedom. And you two have created it not only for yourselves, for each of you individually, but as a couple and as a family. It is just, I've just got to say, I appreciate all the work you have done together because it is felt worldwide and together because of that. Is that where you started writing the book? Was in that transformation as you went
Yeah.
along? How did that start out?
Because at one point we came from TV entertainment, and like a mother, I was always, I was an executive working for TV. And really, I saw that they were not producing TV that I was really looking forward to watch. So, in my house, when my kids were younger or growing up, I was sitting with them all the time, trying
Mm,
to point to them that what you see is the perspective of someone who doesn't, like I was really pointed out that what they see is not real. What
mm,
they see is not the 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 most important part. They need to take that with two grain of salt.
yes.
So at the moment that we begin to experience this, it's like we need to share this to the world from that perspective, that when you are sitting watching TV, you are really begin to see another way of thinking, a way of possibilities, empowerment, understanding, because in that moment you feel better about yourself. So I come to him and say, let's do a TV show.
And and at that time, it wasn't a ludicrous idea because we were experiencing this energy. And it made sense. By then, we were absolutely clear that, spirit, God, the universe was talking to us. And so I've also been quite clear that she experiences things more than I do, and she gets messages more than I do. And, or at least it's more in tune with those messages, and she sees them and hears them. And when she said that, it's like, yeah, it makes sense. Plus, I just want to add to that, traveling around the world and experiencing the world through the lenses of entertainment executives, you start to see the power of storytelling,
Yes.
how it transcends cultures, how we would go on trips, we would travel a lot. When we lived in Asia and Hong Kong for 6 years, in
Wow.
London for 4 years. And during our time in Hong Kong, we traveled to Mongolia, for example, many other places, but in this particular case, Mongolia. And it was amazing to see how in the middle of a Mongolian tent in the desert, there was a television attached to a satellite antenna, and they were
Wow.
watching Hollywood movies. And so
Wow.
when she says, let's do a TV show, I understood that it is a powerful medium and that many people would not, that only get information through television. And in
Yes.
fact, they think of it as true. And right. And so when she said that, I said, yes, yes. But one thing, everyone who I know who is in charge of decision making for making television or film and making sure that it gets distributed, not always are vibrating in the highest of vibrations, one. And two, would simply look at us and say, you guys have never produced anything. You're not creatives, you're salespeople. What do you know? And so I told Rocio, what if we wrote a story? And if that story changes one person, it would have been all worth it. Just one person. But if it changes hundreds, thousands, or millions of people, and it gets validated, then that story has the potential to become so much greater. And that's how it began. And then not long after, she woke up in the morning and said, oh, I had a dream last night. And the dream is the project has to be about women.
Mm.
And I took a minute or two. We were standing having coffee, and it was, of course it does. For me, I look back at my life and how the feminine energy had been present throughout, and it just made sense that my duty and my purpose in the world would be associated with it.
I love that. And I just my team is saying they want to back up a little bit. So they want you to understand you both connect in your own way.
Mm,
Yours is Rocia's is more prevalent in the seeing and the hearing and the feeling. And with you, Angel, it's more of just knowing. It's a presence
knowing.
of being. And they're saying that is the difference. And they're saying this is a beautiful way to show how men and women usually do connect differently. And it's to embrace both ways of doing it and not looking at it as I'm not connecting as much. Your confidence and knowing within yourself, it's just there. And a lot of men operate that way where it's just there. This is just what I need to do, not realizing that's all coming from a lot of the divine energy that's around us too. So
Right.
it's all working together. And that's why I love this together doing this. And for people to realize and it's awakening, and they're just saying, my team is saying it's awakening the divine, the freedom in the divine that's out there right now. And a lot of women are stepping into that divine. And that's why you're seeing a lot of more women in the, and they're saying they hate to use the word metaphysical because it's really not metaphysical. It's the self-help, the wellness and the awareness. There's a lot more women in it than men because of that great awakening of the women. And then the men, so many men are there supporting the women in this role. So the roles are a little reversed at times, but what a beautiful time. And they're saying with you, your relationship is embodying what can be for so many people out there, but knowing you're both rising frequency wise in such huge leaps and bounds, and you're helping so many others. And they also just want to go back when you talked about the storytelling and having it done in a different way. The storytelling in the way you both are talking about it is what is going to be embraced more as we go forward. People are
Ah,
craving it. So the people who are in the forefront of that wave are going to be caught in that wave. And they're just showing me like people um, what are the surfers on a wave, how those in the forefront, like you two, are going to be riding that wave, bringing it through to so many others. So thank you for all you are doing because it is making
ah,
such a huge difference, such a huge difference. And
thank
they're
you.
saying many, many more people than one or hundreds or thousands have already been reached and will continue to be reached as it goes forward. And they want me to share something. So for those of you out here, I'm going to share this, and this is something you said. So this is their QR code. For those of you who are there, you can just click on this QR code, take a picture of it, and you can go right to their website and everything they need. So make sure to do that because they have so much there. And they have the podcast, the website, social media, and purchase the book, The Orchid, because there is so much great information in there. And that's one thing went through, and I have a lot of different things going on. So I asked my team, what do I need to read? So they use, I don't know, for people who aren't familiar, like Oracle cards, you just draw cards out. They do that with books for me. So they just say, this is an important part for you to bring up. So one of the things they want me to bring up is it was chapter 20 and it was Jennifer in chapter 20. And they just talked about how this woman had went through where, she gave up everything along the way to have this relationship. And during the relationship, how it had started off beautifully and then suddenly switched. She had given up ideas, dreams of career, and then coming back. And then after she got married and had children, how everything just started going into the mundane and the working, and then her being there supporting her husband, and how he had then risen up through and then pretty much left her behind to bring himself where he needed to be, and then her way of going through the healing. And there are so many different impacts and different ways of showing the lives of women and how my team is just saying, you two have brought out so many different examples of so many real life examples of relationships and women and things going that they go through and showing how they've worked through that. So you have definitely given, they're showing the one, two, three, here are things to do. This book does that in so many ways and brings it, it does it in a way of not being bored, sitting there going, "Oh, you're invested in the stories and what's happening." So I can't thank you enough for all you're doing for the storytelling, but bringing out the real world healing. And they're bringing up, so Rocio, for you, they are just saying, as you started going through and as you started writing this book, did it also help you release some of that you had been holding as you started writing these stories, a help and healing of you as you did it?
Thank you for the question. I was the women, all of
Yes.
them. So I was suffering all of that. So I was really, when I was writing it, when I was living the experience, I was healing myself. When I was writing, I was really healing myself too through the process. And the beautiful thing about the partnership was that he was looking and he was providing the safe space for me to really let go and become free.
I love that. I love that. And that's something they just want to share also is for you, Angel, to know, throughout history, the men have been out there creating a safe space for women and for their family. And, there's been wars, they're pushing out in the business world and all of that. And it has been also very difficult as they've carried that burden with them also. And for you, it's knowing everything you've been doing as who you are now, but also that they're just saying the history of men in general. You're also helping to bring that and change that energy to someone who is more open to looking at their feelings, to looking within, to healing that and being open with your own feelings instead of always push down, push down. They're saying you've gone through so much, but you've also pushed down in order to continue forward. And you're showing men it's okay to go through those emotions and those healings. And I just feel such more freedom for you too during this whole journey, how it's helped you move through. And that's something my team is just saying they want people to understand how much healing happens on both men and women and how that is so important going forward. And they're just saying, thank you for being the one to open yourself up to that because it was also a difficult journey as you started going into those emotional aspects that you also had kept below. And they're saying for you, thank you both for bringing this information out, for talking openly about it. This is what's needed not only to heal each other, but to heal the world. And that's something both of you are doing. And as you've
Wow.
gone through this, how did your children react to what you were doing?
Oh,
And have they read the book?
Um, we we were lucky in that all of these travels around the world, when we moved from Miami, where our daughters were born, to Hong Kong, they were 3 and 1.
Wow.
And so they began traveling the world with us very early on. And that does something to people. That changes them. It opens their eyes. It gives them perspective, context, and they start to understand how it all fits together into this a larger picture, right? So
Yes.
there were savvier, if you will. It's because of those experiences. And so when we started writing, and they were probably like 16 and 14, we wanted their opinion of the book. This was important. So we actually asked them both to read the last draft of the book and to come back with comments. And they did. And in fact, there's um, a strong scene in part of the book in which someone experiences sexual abuse.
Mm.
And both Rocio and I have experienced sexual abuse. I experienced it as a child, Rocio as an adult. And it was interesting that it was our daughters who came back and said, please tone this down a little bit. It's not
Oh,
necessary for it to be much more graphic. than a simple mention. And we incorporated that into the book. So they were very much part of it. But I believe, Angel, that it was because they were seeing the change in us. They were seeing how we were interacting differently. And I think in Rocio,
I used to scream a lot. I used to, because that was my normal.
Right.
I grew up in that household. So I scream. I was really quick with the how you say pellizco,
to like just
like a
Oh,
you
to get
need
me
to
up.
follow your mom, or
the
the
pinching,
shoe,
the pinching.
the pinching, the shoe, or really, because at one point I was normal that someone hit me. My mom, for example, she hit me, my father too. And but then they see that at one point, and then my mother didn't know, and at one point, instead of saying a good comment, she was always criticized.
Mm, yes.
So I was like her. And then at one point it's like a I'm the enemy. So I begin to understand my words better. So I was more difficult to explain everything, but was worth it because they begin to see that was real change. And I asked for forgiveness because I didn't know better. And they forgive me for making those mistakes.
And that's really powerful because there's a lot of us that grew up, with abuse, sexual, physical abuse, and also how families interacted. This is you screamed, you yelled, you hit, you did things like that. That was normal. I also had similar aspects to that, and it's knowing you can change and you did change, and then them seeing the change. That's powerful. That's the changes, that's the generational changes that are happening because you're willing to say, you know, that wasn't right. Let's change it and let's fix it and let's go from here forward. And your children going, wow, what a difference. And them sensing and feeling that difference in both of you too. But it's a lot of people keep a lot of that information behind closed doors, and that's how it was for years and years.
Right.
I mean, how many families had physical and sexual abuse happening within the family, and it was never talked about. Never. No one ever brought it out. It was always the shh, don't talk about that. But people
Because
are bringing
I was feeling ashamed
absolutely, and
and
and it's
lonely.
and it's taking that the victimhood of why did it happen to me, and you
Right.
don't want to put that out there. But realizing now is the time of bringing it out in the open. And I love my team is just saying they love the fact your children said it doesn't have to be so graphic. It's knowing it happened, but now let's move on. And they're going back
Yes.
to saying, just like Angel had said, it's the letting it go. That's the part of the letting it go. It happened. I
Yes.
acknowledge it, and now I'm moving forward. So, what a beautiful way for you both to have that in there to just, this is what happened. This is what it was. And it's taking the emotion out of it and going, that's what it was. Now what can I do from here? And putting the empowerment back on you, on the people and on ourselves. And that's so important. And you two both did it wonderfully, adding that in there. And I love the fact you had your children look it through to do the proofreading to say, it's time. And I just keep hearing, it's time to let go of the past. We
Yeah.
are all letting go of the past, all
You
of
know,
us.
it's interesting you say that. I just want to mention something we were watching yesterday because we're always looking for examples in the world of extreme forgiveness, extreme gratitude, and so on. And one such example is Rwanda, right?
Oh,
They experienced a genocide 30
yes.
years ago. And it was interesting in yesterday's, we were watching this program, and a woman was asked about that experience. And her answer was just beautiful. It is part of my history, but it doesn't have to define my future.
Yes. I love that. And
It's
that
beautiful.
it's beautiful and it's empowering to
Yeah,
know you can acknowledge what happened. You can
yeah,
acknowledge it, but don't let it define you going forward.
yeah,
That's huge. And that's a lot of what you help people in the book to say, this is my past, this is my history, but who am I now? And
yes,
and there's so many people as you're going through life. I mean, there's kids, there's jobs, there's everything else. You don't a lot of times even have time to take a breath to say, who am I?
yeah,
And I love with what you came out in the 2020s in that areas, people started having time to take a breath
Yes.
and they get to breathe in. I want to know, so my team is kind of niggling me. Why did you name it the Orchid?
You know, we've been conditioned to think that only one way of women is worth it.
Hmm.
So we spend so much time thinking that we are not worth it because it's only one
type.
kind of women who was decided 500 years ago. And is what I want everyone to consider is everyone is special.
Yes.
And because the orchids are more than 30,000 styles, and all of them, look at them, all of them are beautiful and unique. And that's what we want people to understand, that they are unique, and tell them what we just discovered.
And when we first chose them, also it's a huge symbol of femininity. The flower looks like the female sexual organ, and so there's so many things to that. But recently we discovered, and it was in another podcast because we have done research on this, and it never showed up in our radar. Um, and this other gentleman says, "Oh, interesting. They're very much related to the testicles as well." And so I did research, and what it,
Didn't
what
know
it
that.
is the word orchid come from the word orchis in Greek, which means testicles. And the reason is that the root system of certain orchids have two bulges. And so when scientists were looking at them in the past, that's what they named them. And so when we found this out, it made sense to us that we had been led and directed to pick something that balances, yet again, right, both the feminine and the masculine in its explanation. And it's like, well, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Of course it does. And so it was just choosing that, but ultimately, obviously, being guided by something much greater than us.
I love it. I love it. And they're saying you're as you continue to go forward, you're going to discover even more aspects of why the orchid was chosen. As this is also, they're just showing me, and I don't know everything about the orchid, they're just showing me different things. They're saying it grows in so many different areas around the
Yeah,
world. It is worldwide. It is not just in a certain area. So there is much more reach to the
yeah,
orchid than what you maybe have anticipated. And they're saying, and that is also with your book, there's much more reach to the different aspects. And they're just showing me pictures flipping through my head of like big orchids, little orchids, all little different
ah,
sizes and saying how beautiful the largest one, the smallest one, and everything in between, how beautiful and unique each and every one has different attributes. And for you bringing that forward to let people know, no matter who you are, you all hold something special, something
yes,
unique, and that's something you have been bringing out with people to embrace their uniqueness, to embrace, oh, they're saying embracing the differences within everyone
yes.
actually opens you up to incorporate everyone in your world by embracing the differences. So I love, love, love what you've been doing with that. And as you've been moving through this, it's also your consciousness has changed. How has all of this affected your outlook on the world as you see it?
Oh my God, so much possibilities. I love it. Really, because it's like I discover the secret door to a garden, okay? For a garden that for me is full of joy and discover and understanding, and really is like the possibilities are endless. So, what can I tell you? I'm deeply in love of Earth and all the inhabitants. So when you begin to see life from this perspective, is every moment is really enrich what you are experience. So what can I tell you? I love it. It's incredible. You know, my heart grow during the time was feeling like at one point was small, sometimes happy, but didn't awake. And now it's like a fully awake, like a sending the signal of like a radar of possibilities, love. It's like it's beautiful.
I love the fact, so this is what they wanted people to hear, is they're saying this is a time to realize the more you open up to yourself, the more you start embracing your uniqueness, the differences, and seeing the possibilities, the whole world shifts. You shift. You see the world so differently than ever before. It brings in so much more joy. And they just, for me, I have experienced more joy, more excitement than I have ever experienced in my whole life with this journey. And I look at, it's almost like new glasses going on and looking at the past going, wow, I was almost looking at it in black and white, and now I'm seeing it in full color. And what an exciting time to be alive, to have that difference. And that's something for people. A lot of people have fear with everything going forward, fear with what's coming up. And when you look at, there may be a little fear, but when you step past the fear, there's nothing to fear and just beauty surrounding us everywhere. And has this also shifted? So they're asking Angel, has this also shifted your work relationships with people you work with? How has that shifted? Because there's a lot of times, a lot of, and they're just saying a lot of men look at, if I start getting into where I'm feeling my emotions and going into this, my career is going to be over. That's a fear from a lot of men. How, because they'll feel like I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm not going to be able to hold my confidence, or people won't look or respect me the same way. How was it for you?
Um, as I was exiting my corporate job and I was entering into this depth of studying and information, uh, the rug underneath my feet was removed, right? And what was interesting is that I had already entered, and probably not because of that period of time, but because it was already within me.
Mhm.
Um, I had already entered a period of knowing that life needed to change and that there was something much greater to life. And it was not difficult to embrace it and stand at the edge of the abyss, which is how it probably feels to many men and other, women too, but have been career oriented all of their lives, because all we've been taught was buy, get things. Those things are the measure of you. Those things will tell the world that you are important. And what ends up happening is that little by little, you start to realize that the real importance is inside, and that the only person that needs to feel important is yourself. And so, yes, it was very scary, but not as scared and perhaps I wasn't as filled with fear as other people around me who left the similar jobs around the same time. Something else took over, and it was hope. It
Yeah.
was openness to the adventure of the unknown, and it was trust. And we have this little thing between us. Now our full-time job, it's really dedicated to sharing with as many people as we can the knowledge that we put in the book. But we have this little joke that it's not a joke, but it's fun when we say it. When we are in despair, and we wake up, there are days when you do feel fear, you do feel despair, you feel and you ask yourself, are we crazy to let go of that, of the shiny object, and go on this route? And the agreement is we're supposed to look at each other and say, and who's your God? Right? Like, are you serving this powerful force that can do anything it wants for you and with you, or not? In which case, run like, very fast, because you're not being protected. But when when you tap into that. And so, yes, it is scary, but not as scary as going the rest of your life with an empty heart and not knowing what your real purpose is. And there's so much right now, Angel, as you know, so much information coming out to the surface about the powerful connection that exists between the brain and the heart in our bodies. And so we've been operating with one part of that. But when you start connecting that brain to the heart, it is explosive and exponential what you can achieve. And that's what I'm tapping into. And so it's not easy, I'm sure, for many people, but I promise you, give it a try, test it a little bit, let those tears roll down your cheeks, say, I'm sorry, be grateful. And all of these things start to just kind of tighten the bolts in you. And all of a sudden, this gigantic creature begins to emerge. And it's you, all powerful, almighty, ready to be yourself, which is what we want out of every person, to be themselves and to shine brightly.
I love that. I love that. And it's true. It's going through, you're jumping into the abyss. You're jumping into the unknown. You're trusting yourself and you're trusting that divine energy and whatever you want to call it, the divine, the God,
Sure.
whatever you want to call it, is trusting that they've got your back. You're going to be okay. And you can jump and knowing there's fear. And I love how you said, there's some days where it's like, what are we doing? Are we crazy? And it's knowing as a human, you're going to have those days.
Yeah.
But as a soul and as a spirit, your soul and spirit is always saying, we've got you. You're going to be okay. Keep
Yeah.
trusting. Keep trusting. And that's something you two have done just amazingly well. And to show people, I just keep hearing, they want you to understand you're like the way shower. You're the one that's putting the path in front of people. You're opening up the path for people to follow. You're creating that energetic footstep for others to follow. And it's a scary place to be because you're out front and there's not a lot of people out there and you're in the forefront. You're the one they're just showing going into the wind with the wind going after you. You're the one breaking through that wind, but you're doing a beautiful job at it and helping so many people, and love. I've just got to say, my team had told me at the beginning of 2025 is the year of love. This is understanding love, going into your heart and loving, not only love yourself, because a lot of people can love other people. And I think that's something in your book with the orchid. It's all about a lot of women, especially, they can love other people so easily. But when they have to love themselves, boy, that's a whole
Yeah.
game changer. That is a whole game
Yes.
changer. And you're
Yes.
helping people to understand how to tap into that love. And when you started making these connections with the love and doing the orchid, was some of this almost, I just feel like almost questioning along the way, like, are we doing the right thing? Are we putting this together the right way? Are we doing this together? And I just, how did you work through some of that self-doubt along the way? And some of it, I'm just hearing also sometimes the unworthiness aspects of yourselves as you went through this of, can I be the author I want to be? Can I accomplish what I want to be? How did you work through that? Was that something you worked through together, separately and together?
What I at the end is the both is at this the things happen at the same time. I was not worth it of anything because the condition outside was you don't went to the correct school. English is not your first language. You really don't know. So many challenge that at one point I want to discover the say that I was really like a small tiny animal inside of a glass, that I was conditioned to when I tried to jump, I was already always here. It's like I never gonna jump and do nothing else. But when I was gaining knowledge and little by little, I was not only understanding that the glass was not there. I understand that I was any animal that you can imagine, a eagle, for example. But of course, in the process of transformation was this painful understanding that I was, if you put it like an ego, my ego was taking control of my life. So to be less than, I was my own jailer.
Yes.
Okay. So to really begin to open the hand to let me be me was a exercise, because I was using all the tools that we put in the book, but really was one-on-one with myself. And in those moments, he only was really respectful, but I was writing like needs to go out all my sadness, hurt, angriness,
Judgment.
judge, all like a little by little. Yes, I was ripping the onion, but I was like, I'm gonna go for the onion, because I discovered that in the moment that I heal one, disappears. So I was like, oh my God, that disappears for my feelings, for my body. Oh, I'm gonna do it. So every time that any person was putting in front of me a challenge, I go. And at one point, it's like I go to the uncomfortable. So what I want to people to listen is they make us believe that the uncomfortable is really difficult and no one can do it. But I'm nobody, and I did it. And that's the point, to invite more people to go to the uncomfortable and, shift your way of thinking. Instead of it's going to be difficult, you can ask questions and help for the universe. You know what? It's going to be easy. It's going to be full of love, understanding, and you begin to bring that forces, because all the angels and all the other beings and yourself and your loved ones, but doesn't matter. You are not alone. It's like the 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 love that is inside of every person is humongous. And I love to say that in one movie, Monsters Inc., from Disney, they show that, yes, if you are scared, they take energy. But if you are happy and you are having fun, even in the uncomfortable, is the energy is you don't have any limitations.
It's more powerful.
What you want to say?
During this process, we became acutely aware of energy, acutely. And we read books, and we started to understand that energy is all around us and that it defines everything we do. So we read books about an author that spoke about ideas being energy and how ideas go through you, and right, you're either in the vibration of receiving ideas or you're not. And so if you're angry today, an idea might just really miss you and let's go in the other direction because you may not be in a mindset of receiving.
Right.
And then we learned about guilt and shame and the vibration that brings, and how. And so what Rocio mentioned, and once she started to understand that if she moved some energy within her body, that it was have a chain reaction. And we started seeing it like literally, and we started experiencing it with us, with the people around us, our family members, and so on. Then you start to become a master of your own energy, right? And you start to say, well, wait a minute. You're telling me that if I forgive that person, the person who benefits is me because I get back my energy, then my goodness, I'm going to go around the world forgiving everything and everyone that's ever done anything to me,
Yes.
because all I'm doing is claiming back my energy, and I need it because I have some really big dreams and projects that I want to do. And so the moment you start to shift into that mindset, you realize that you're not going to give your energy to the person who just took your parking spot at Costco, right?
Or
Because
to social media.
or to social media,
Mhm.
or to a
Good one.
song, or to food, or to alcohol, or whatever. And it's not that these things are bad. They're neither bad nor good. It is how much of your energy are you giving to them? And so the moment we started to really understand that, we became much more aware of what we were giving our energy to. And in fact, one of the quotes when you begin reading our book is the quote from Nikola Tesla, the original inventor that started to play with electricity and had this idea that electricity could be free for all.
Yeah.
And it says, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And guess what? We found the secrets of our soul by becoming much more aware of that and putting it into action and being zealous with it.
I love that. And it's so I love how you brought through with beliefs and what we believe in ourselves. And like you talked about having that glass ceiling, that jar over you. So many of us have that and we don't even realize it. We don't even realize we put that belief there and we don't know what it is until we try to move through it and then realize, oh, we put that in there, and working through it and understanding the energy with everything moves us forward in leaps and bounds. And I
Yeah.
love how you said when you give your energy to someone else, you're it's going back and going, oh, do I want to give my energy to someone else or do I want to keep it here? You know, they're just saying people are creating the freedom of choice for
Yes.
themselves now. And I
Yes.
love how you go through this in the book and take people through each of the examples. It's basically, correct me if I'm wrong, it's basically going through the book with people with all these different aspects, women with all these different aspects, and going through almost like a retreat center and understanding and going with the person that are matching them up with different healers per se and seeing
Yeah.
different ones and going through that whole process of understanding it. And why, I just want to ask, where was your thought process on talking about the people, the women in there, but then going through like a retreat and a healing center? How did that culminate together?
Hmm.
Everything that is in the book is real. Is real but we need a place to put everything in the same place. And
Right.
and when you begin to read the place, it's like you put together the best school on earth with retreats and the healers. So it's really what we imagine can be possible for a person to experience learning how to live again.
Love it.
Can I add something? The book is symbolic of everything that was happening in our lives, because we traveled around the world and you see things. You go to one doctor and you learn something from that doctor that it's really important. But the famous comment, go and see another one, because you never really know that, maybe this other one can bring different wisdom. And what we found as we interacted with different people and different skills, whether it was crystals or energetic massages or whatever, Reiki, sound bowls, music, dancing, nutrition, traveling to sacred places, etc., we started to see that our life was 1,000-piece puzzle, maybe it's 10,000-piece puzzle. And every one of those experiences that we had lived or were living are one or many pieces of that puzzle that kind of fall into place. And when you start to open yourself to the possibility that every experience brings another piece of your puzzle, then you begin to put it together. And we realized that it was in the community of knowledge that we started to grow. And so we wanted the Orchid to be representative of that. There isn't one teacher. Don't give all your power to one teacher, because then you're going to know everything that one person knows, right? So open yourself up to many teachers. In fact, one may connect with you more than the other, or one technique more than another. And so the idea was to do that and be very symbolic, that we should be open to all of these things, and that in that unraveling, we unravel the beauty of ourselves. And then the place where is the Orchid? The Orchid is inside of you. It is that garden inside of you. And we do think it's going to exist, and we know it's already been wished in the world, so therefore it will be true. But the most important thing is that there are simple things that you can do by being curious, by being aware, by being open. And if you to that apply then powerful forces like gratitude, forgiveness, and acceptance, they begin to shift and turn you and open you in ways that you could never imagine. And as they do, then you reclaim that power. And the last lesson in the Orchid is, and now what do you want to do with all that energy that you've gained back? Well, be intentional about living the best version of yourself that you want to be, whatever that is. And only you know what that is.
I absolutely love that. And it's so true with how I just love how you took so many different people with different life experiences, put them in the book, and then took them basically to a retreat and the healing and walking through that, because everyone has different, they're coming from different aspects. Everyone has different things they're going to resonate with. And that's the beauty of this, is you're taking so many different aspects, bringing them together, and then showing so many different options for people. And I'm just hearing it helps reawaken people to understand you don't have to have one thing. And my team is just going, so many people in life are always looking for the one thing, the one thing, the one thing that will do it. And they're saying, but instead of one thing, look at the many and bring them all together. And that's something you have done with this book, is you haven't shown people it's just crystals or just working with energy or just Reiki. It's instead bringing all of it together. It's not one thing, but many, because we are made up with so many different unique parts to ourselves. So why wouldn't we resonate with something unique and different for each one of us? And to know there's so many other teachers and healers and healing in ourselves, it's going to take place differently. And they're saying for you two, it's taken place differently for both of you on your
Yeah.
each individual path. And has there been they're, they're just showing me like you guys sitting around a table and having these amazing conversations of like, how does this work? How does this work? Energy, how are we doing it with other people? And having those conversations. As you had those conversations together, did it also help you see things from another perspective to help you gain your energy back per se, or reawaken the energy within you?
Yes,
Most definitely.
all the time is we read more than 200 books. So what I discover is each book has energy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the energy of a master. So understanding different perspectives and begin to see things was like I feel that we were in a journey of discovery.
Yes.
And at the end, the prize, the winner is you. Really. Everything I tell everyone, please invest in yourself. Because in the moment you invest in yourself, you double, triple, like it's not a number to really see. Look, from me to be like tiny little animal, afraid to really to become wherever I want, is a freedom of expansion
Mm.
that only want more people to experience because, and that's something that we are helping everyone to do in the book. That at one point when they feel better and they feel that they resolve something, is like and now that you are creating, instead of creating your life from a place of scarcity, loneliness, sadness, now that you are happy and you love yourself, well, what do you want? And the possibilities are endless.
I absolutely love that. And my team wants to say something. You said when you're reading the other 200 books, you feel they were written by the master. Your book was also written by the masters. Just remember that because you have so much within this book. So much beautiful energy has been put into this book. And they just want to say masters are the ones who are helping to bring this information out to people and to awaken the mastery within those people. The masters awaken the masters within others. And that is exactly what you've been doing.
Oh, beautiful.
And they just want you to know your book has been written by the masters for the masters that read it to awaken themselves.
Mm.
So they just want to thank you for what you've done.
Yeah. Um,
I move.
I am shedding tears of gratitude and humbleness and appreciation
Yes.
for those words. They have been said before, but you never get tired of listening and to the depth of power that they carry to know and acknowledge that we are connected and that we are guided and that we are serving the higher purpose.
And that is huge because you are serving so many. And I highly encourage people, if you know of someone who's struggling in a relationship or struggling with themselves, Mother's Day is coming up. And I don't know if I think this will come out before Mother's Day. If not, it doesn't matter. I don't know. It might be after Mother's Day, no matter what, this book
After
is
after Mother's
after.
Day.
It will come out after Mother's Day, but this is a time there's for those in the US, you're in 4th of July, you're in whatever, or just
Yeah.
here, I care about you. Here's a book for you to read. There is
Yeah.
so much power that holds within this book. So for people, someone, buy it for yourself, buy it for someone else as a gift that's struggling, and anxiety, I'm just hearing anxiety is through the roof. And right now, and that's a lot of people don't understand their connection to the divine. Anxiety comes from, a lot of times, from there. This book helps them, helps people have they're just saying the 1, 2, 3 steps to having that connection with the divine within themselves, having that connection to your own personal energy, and moving themselves forward, and knowing with these stories are so powerful. It lets people know they're not alone. There are many people who have gone through this. And for all the people that are there supporting so many others, it's so huge. And what advice do you have for couples that are navigating their personal and spiritual growth together, as you two have? What advice would you give to other couples who are like, you know, I'm say one person in the relationship is looking at, I want to get more involved and understand more about myself, but maybe one isn't quite so much on board. Is there something you can offer to help a couple in or the relationship that way?
I think is important. I will invite them really to read the book together, because the book brings bridges. So, and we talk at one point of limiting belief. It's a chapter. So when you begin to, what we've been seeing is when they read the book, men begin to understand better women. And it's like, really? You think like this? It's really happened this? And women are, yeah, that happened and is real and is, so that gives them an understanding, number one.
Mhm.
Then both can experience what is teamwork. And teamwork is a lot of respect, right, for the process of the other one. But then you have the language to understand each other, because it's important when you move from one paradigm to another one. So that's why we did the book in audio, in English and in Spanish, different audios, books, because it's like what is your language of love? And really, at one point, the same happened with my kids, or people telling me, and it's like I don't leave anything out of the table. It's like let me talk to you for what reason I believe we need to invest in ourselves. Because if we want a better house, we need to let go the way we think about poverty.
Yes.
So like a couples is gonna be a win-win situation for them. Another thing, at one point when we were living in Hong Kong, we were really fortunate to be being friends with the CEOs of banks and corporations, like a really top people, okay? The top of the top. And what we discover is they have several attributes. They take risk.
Yes.
They listen their intuition. They keep the knowledge fresh. It's not like I know everything and that's it. It's like no, I can learn and how I can do it. So all these things, I want more people to know it. So if you have a pyramid, I want more people to know that is in our mind. So when a woman feels this work and has a wonderful man who is asleep, it's like come on, we don't know everything. Let's keep curious. Let's bring to the table what else is there to discover. Let's do it together. It doesn't need to be a fight. Remember, we've been conditioned only women for this part and men for that part, because that is power for someone else. I don't know. But in my case, I find more power right now than anything else. So what else?
I want to go back to energy, vibration, and frequency. And it is important that when we're looking at significant others in relationships, there's many ways to go about it. You can ask yourself and that person, do we want this? Do we like each other enough to want to continue for another decade or two or until the end of our lives in this world? And if the answer is yes, or it signals to yes, my advice would be then, as you are thinking, if you're the one thinking about this, work on yourself. Don't try to change the other person. First, change yourself. Go inside and do all you need to do to heal, to let go, to forgive, to be grateful, so that when you are standing tall in your living room, in your kitchen, doing whatever and interacting with those people or whoever that is, you're doing it from the most powerful position in the world. I love myself and I love you inside of me. Why? Because when you turn into that superpower, I love the movie The Matrix. And the bullets, right? At the end of the movie, when he puts his hand and the bullets just stop. When you are in that power and you feel good about who you are and you know who you are, you can put your hands up and words don't hurt you. And that allows you to be a better person, a better partner, because then you can just offer love in return. And often what ends up happening is that the dialogue breaks down because one hurt person simply all he or she does is answer with unkind words to the other person's unkind words, and it just becomes a constant battle. Never strong enough to break apart and leave. Sometimes it is. But I say, work on yourself, read the book. We put to what you've said, Angel, and to your team and masters, they we put a lot of wisdom in there that we've gathered and collected across decades of experience, but especially this past 2, 3, 4 years, and an incredible amount of dosage of love. If you really deep dive into it and you stay open to the possibility of, I am more than I am right now. I know it. I am great. I am powerful. I am divine. I am endless. I am. Things will start to unravel first in you and then in the people who surround you. It is not even now a question for me. This is how it works. It's that rock that you throw in a calm lake and how that ripples happens. Be the rock. Be the one that begins the ripple, and you will see how it impacts all around you, including your significant others.
Absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. And it's so very true. And from both of you, and like you were saying, Rocia, is this is a time of realizing we are putting our own limiting beliefs. There is so much abundance out there. And so many of us, and they're saying, just like you had talked about the pyramid and them being on top, we've also looked at abundance the same way, that there's only such a short little bit on top, when actually the whole pyramid is abundance, and we're releasing those beliefs, and that's so, so important for all of us going forward. We're not meant to be small, we're meant to be big. And that's something you both have helped. So many people are going to be helping more and more, is showing them you don't have to be little. And I love how you said using the energy and knowing you're big, and you can see the words coming at you and have those words fall. They don't come into you anymore. They don't affect you anymore. That is so key going forward, knowing you are in charge of what affects you and what doesn't affect you. And this book helps people go through step by step how to do it, but in a way of storytelling where you're not just looking at, step one is this, step two is this. It's showing you through they're saying the emotional storytelling of it is what really helps open people's heart to know, okay, here are ways to do it. I'm safe. I'm safe to open my heart to do this. And that's something both of you have accomplished extremely well with this book, and it's so important. So I've got to ask, is there anything in next on the list? What's next for you two?
So our wish is to more people discover the book, to then they begin to understand and they begin to work on themselves, and we begin to bring more and more love in each household, you see, in each life, and from there we move. Then in October, we're gonna do an event in LA for
Nice.
people to experience in one day really what is coming, what is exercise, what is the 5 lessons for them to really live that. And I hope that one day we have a TV show.
Love it. I hope you both do too, because I think it's going to be awesome.
Yes.
Yes, yes, thank you.
It's really, we're surrendering to whatever our path is. We know that the energy that is driving this is really powerful and nothing can withstand it. We know that it will need to express itself in different ways as well. We also know that no matter what form it takes, whether it is in the retreat centers as they open around the world, and or the lessons or conferences, what we will tell people is that at the end, all we're really is just sending a message that you need to go inside, that it's your choice to do so when you do so, but that when you're ready, it's all inside, and that there are tools available for you to do it. And that's why we call it the secret, right? It's the tools are really simple and straightforward. They're all around us. Gratitude, forgiveness, and intention, surrounded by
Acceptance.
and acceptance, surrounded by awareness and intention. And those things, when you apply them on a constant basis in your life, they begin to change you. And then the world changes and our communities change, and we start to look at each other differently. And so that's what awaits us, more of this amazing experience of sharing love with the world.
I love it. I love it. And it's so important for people to know there's hope out there. And I can't wait to see where you're going from here, because I know it's going to be fun and exciting, and you're going to be reaching a lot more people, and it is going to just be, it's bringing this new light to the world, and that's what both of you are doing, and I can't thank you both enough for that. And I appreciate it so much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
thank you, thank you.
And I just want to encourage people again to go to your website, theorchidbook.com, and also there it is, and it's a beautiful cover. I love it. I love the book on there.
You see, is the orchid with the inner eye.
Love it. Love it. The all-seeing eye. I love that.
Yes, yes,
And
beautiful.
is that the best way for people to reach you, is going through the orchidbook.com, and then they can do an email or anything on there? And there you also have other things on your website. And for people, do you have are you doing the podcast yet, or is that still okay? So what about
Yeah,
your podcast?
our podcast, we wanted to honor the people who are reading the book and who can tell the story of their shift as they are experiencing it. So really our podcast is us interviewing and having conversations with people who've read the book. Our first sessions or season was about 18 episodes. That was sort of our trial. All women from all over the place in both English and Spanish. And what we're aiming to do now with our second season is to interview men who have read the book and listen to their stories because they are absolutely wonderful and depth and just also transformational. We want to make to be sure that the people who are listening and watching understand that this is a book for humans, for beings, for growing and expanding together. And even though it's named the way it is for both men and women.
I love that because I know they were talking to me and they're saying there's something more with men coming up to show their connection with all of this because it's bringing both of us back into balance. We've both been out of balance. Men and women
Yes.
have been extremely out of balance, and we're bringing all that back into balance. And it's going to take the perspective of both sides.
Of
It's
course.
so necessary to
Yeah,
to do the bridge to what do you think you've been conditioned to. And let's listen and don't judge is
yes.
what happened 5 seconds ago doesn't matter anymore.
I
So
love that.
release and continue.
Yeah.
And the no judgment because we really need to let go of judgment as we move forward. We're all changing. We've all done, I'm just going to say, we've all done stupid stuff throughout our
Yes.
lives. We've all done stuff where we hasn't been our best day. Forgive ourselves, forgive others when they also don't have their best day.
Yes.
And that's important. So I just want
Absolutely.
to thank you both so much. Is there anything you'd like to say before we close today?
Yes, I want to
Mhm.
ask you a question. If you can
Okay.
put your hand in top of the book and tell me what you see, that would be fantastic.
What I see when I put my hands on top of your book is I see the whole book coming to life. So that TV show that you're looking at doing, that I feel that coming to life. I feel the characters and the people popping out of the book and the creation of the story. And I just feel the video coming to life. The book is coming to life in video. And this is all about the extreme. And they're saying they don't they're using the word extreme, but they want you to understand, they want everyone listening. It doesn't mean extreme as in it can only happen to one person. They're saying the extreme change in perspective of people that can happen with this book. As you're reading through this book, it reawakens, and they're going back to Angel, how you had talked about energy. This book carries an energy with it that lights up as the people read it, and that energy is felt and seen by those who read this book. There is such beautiful energy in this, and they're also saying this is a time of, they're just saying the embracing the uniqueness. This is what this book brings through. And they're saying they see with this reaching so many more people. Have you looked at putting this in audio? Is it in audio?
Yes, it's an audio as
Okay.
well.
Okay. Because they're bringing up the audiobook part of it. They're bringing up the audiobook. And they're saying for those who don't have time to read when they're doing that, the audio is so impactful. And they're saying the audio part for those that are extremely busy and hard to read, this, and especially they're saying some people have difficulty reading, for the audio is such a huge impact. And the words, they're just showing the vibration of the words spoken are helping people to open up. They're showing the
Mm.
light coming through. So that is what is happening with your book.
You know, and the audio has sounds and really transport you to have really 7 days in an amazing retreat.
Yes.
Absolutely. And they're saying the sound and the vibration for people. My team is just saying they want people to understand when they hear a radio show like this, or they hear your audiobook, there's a sound, there's a resonance, there's a vibration, not only of the people speaking, like all three of us, but also the vibration of all of those, that divine energy speaking through us and using our hearts as a, they're just showing a path of frequency to share with so many others. So no, it is so impactful, everything they're doing. And they're saying there's so much to be heard and seen, and to listen into the silence as you will find more about your heart and who you are also.
How
So
beautiful.
they're just saying you have done such a beautiful job bringing this book to life because it feels like it was culminating and it was like out here in the ethers and it's like bringing it together and breathing life into it. And that is what you both have done. And they're just so extremely happy. And they're saying this book, even though is built, it's like the modern goddesses like towards women, it was brought in a way of divine masculine and divine feminine coming together to create this book. And that's why it's so important. They're saying this is also why sometimes guys will listen to the book versus reading it because it's also a little less it's just they're just showing like sometimes men will look at it being almost like a blockade, like should I really delve into this? And the audio part of it for them
Mhm.
is very impactful. And they're also saying the vibration of that audio is very impactful to the men.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh my God, how beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
you are so welcome, and I thank you so much for all you've done. And I just thank you both so much. I appreciate it so much, and I know this is so impactful for so many people. Highly encouraged. I'm going to put this up once more for those at the end if you want. There's the QR code leading them right to their website, and there's the book right over there, the cover of the book. Go on Amazon, go on their site, go check out the QR code, check out all they have to offer. So much. And I can't wait. People watch for the retreat and things they're going to be doing coming up too, because keep an eye on that. Sign up on their website for their newsletter, I'm assuming, and then bringing
Yes.
that up there. So again, it is the orchidbook.com. And I just want to thank you both. Thank you both, Rocio and Angel. I thank you so much for being here. I can't thank you enough for all of your time and sharing your hearts with so many others. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the
Thank
space,
you,
Angel.
Angel.
Thank you
And
so
all
much.
your team. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Oh,
Great
you
honor.
are so welcome. Thank you so much. I just want to encourage everybody. Make sure to watch the next episodes of Edge Talk Radio. They are on the first and third Wednesdays of the month at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And if you've missed any of the past episodes, no worries. They are available as a downloadable podcast on pretty much all of the podcast areas, but also go to my YouTube channel because I love when you can see the people and see what we're talking about. Go to my YouTube channel, go to Edge Talk Radio's YouTube channel and watch the shows on there. And I just want to thank everyone. I want to thank you all for listening, expanding, and amplifying our universe together. Thank you so much and have an absolutely amazing day.